So, the year is 1875 and the United States just passed the Civil Rights Act. Guangzhou is made the Emperor of China at the ripe old age of 4 years old, and Matthew Webb has become the first person to swim the English Channel. But in a little known part of the world, something interesting is happening. Two men come together and start a company that will become one day a giant of industry. Welcome to Audemars Piguet. How's it going, everyone? Hope you're having a wonderful day today. My name is Frank, and this is a very short series that we're doing on different watch brands, so we have a better understanding of what we're looking at both in store and online. So without further ado, let's just jump right into one of the most important bits, pronunciation. So in English, it kind of sounds like it would read as Audemars Piguet or something along those lines, but the name is actually a bit French, so it's supposed to be Audemars Piguet. So it's Audemars Piguet, or if you just want to simplify your life, you can just mention AP and then people will understand what you're talking about. Anyways, let's move on to the logo. There's nothing too crazy here. It's actually a very traditional logo and was last changed in the 1950s. Do take notice of how every letter is capitalized, even though it doesn't seem so because the A and the P are actually enlarged just a bit. Interestingly enough, if you take the A from Audemars and the P from Piguet and put them next to each other, you would get the AP symbol that they used to shorthand Audemars Piguet. Moving on, in the bottom of the logo, we find the words Le Maître de l'Horlogerie depuis 1875, which translates to in English, the Master of Horology since 1875. And speaking of the company's origins, the way the company was founded in 1875 was through two childhood friends that reunited after independently working in the watch industry. Jules-Louis Audemars was really good at making watch movements, and Edward Auguste Piguet was a master watchmaker at regulating movements so that the watch would run correctly. They both settled on La Brasses, which is a very tiny farming village in Switzerland, and this is a rough reenactment of their meeting. Hey man, what's up? Haven't seen you in a few years. Guess we both have experience in the watch business now. That's pretty cool. Oh dude, you know what we could totally do? What? Let's just open up our own watch company so we can do whatever we want and we can just name it after ourselves, pass the company down through generations, and then one day, years from now, someone will make a YouTube video about us having this conversation. What's a YouTube? And so Audemars Piguet was born with Mr. Audemars taking care of like the watchmaking side of business while Mr. Piguet took care of the business side of business. And this relationship between the two families has really stood the test of time. Starting with the original founders, we're currently on the fourth generation of family members that are taking care of this company, adding a very interesting family angle to the business, which is not something we really see in today's world of giant companies and conglomerates that dominate the watch industry. On their website, they even have a very nice page dedicated to showing which Audemars and Piguets have been involved with the company. And now that we're all caught up on how the company was started, let's jump into their current collections. AP has 6 collections out right now, and the most popular by far is the Royal Oak, but that's a bit tricky because there's actually 3 variations of Royal Oak. First, we've got the original Royal Oak that was released all the way back in 1972 and put Audemars Piguet on the map while at the same time potentially saving it from bankruptcy. To this day, it is their most sought after collection, and the idea behind it is supposed to be a very elegant but sporty steel watch. It was famously designed by watch designer Gerald Genta under 24 hours and actually claims the title of being the world's first luxury sports watch. Following the Royal Oak's success and not wanting to be a one-trick pony, AP in 1993 decided to come up with an original idea. They wanted something new and bold so that everyone knew that they were more than just the classic Royal Oak. So they released the Royal Oak Offshore Collection. It was bigger, bolder, and more in your face than the original subtle version, even using rubber straps instead of steel bands. And it might not seem like too big a deal to make a watch slightly more sporty and rugged, but this being the detail-oriented world of watches, where the slightest change is big news. For the designer of the original Royal Oak, Mr. Genta, it was a bombshell as he apparently told AP that they killed his baby. Fast forwarding to 2003, AP wanted something bold yet again, but this time they wanted to show the world that they could move their historic brand into the 21st century so they can be a part of the future as well as the past. So they released the Royal Oak Concept Collection. It was modern, sharp, and also allowed their designers to experiment just a little bit more, which is not something that was very easy to do with the original Royal Oak design. Recently, they even launched this watch in collaboration with Marvel under this collection, which, as you can see, is definitely something that's very experimental and not very traditional. Outside of those three variations of the Royal Oak, we also have the Millenary Collection, launched in 1995, which is interesting because it's an oval watch, and that's not something that's really seen a lot these days, especially with the partly skeletonized dial. Finally, just an interesting fact is that Millenary was named after the upcoming third millennium at the time it was launched, and this third millennium started in 2001. Next up is the Remaster Collection that they have on right now, which is currently just composed of this one watch that AP remastered from an original 1943 design. A great touch here is the Audemars Piguet & Co logo on the dial that speaks back to a different time. This watch was limited to 500 pieces, launched in 2020, and I haven't really come across anything that suggests that there will be another remaster release, so we will see. Finally, the last collection of AP was launched in 2019, just a few years ago, and the idea with this was to be truly original and innovative because the brand has essentially been synonymous with the Royal Oak design language ever since the original was launched in 1972, and so this was meant to be a step forwards away from the Royal Oak design to show everyone that the brand has something else to offer, and so the controversial Code 11.59 collection was born. The name itself represents Audemars Piguet's step into a new chapter in their brand, and so the code part of their name is supposed to stand for challenge, own, dare, and evolve, while the 11.59 is supposed to be on the brink of tomorrow, since, 11.59 p.m. is literally on the brink of tomorrow. Anyways, if I had to pick a single watch from AP's current lineup at the moment, it would probably be the Royal Oak Reference 15202 because it's just a timeless design. It really represents AP for what it is, and it has strong historic roots. But I will say a close second is the Code 11.59 Reference 26394 because I just really love the way the constellation background is done on the dial. And now to finish things off, let's just go to 3 very quick facts about the brand. First, the Royal Oak was initially supposed to be named the Safari, but that was scrapped because it didn't really match with the brand image Audemars Piguet was going for. Secondly, I want you to notice that on every single Royal Oak variation, the screws align perfectly with the dial frame. And I couldn't really figure out how they do this, but apparently what we're looking at isn't really a screw, it's a threaded nut that's just inserted into place. The actual screw is on the back of the watch, and that is what pairs up with the threaded nut and tightens the casing. Here's a quick video of that so it makes sense. And thirdly, Audemars Piguet makes around 40,000 watches every single year, at least according to 2018 figures, and while that sounds like it would be a lot, it really isn't, especially when you consider the entire global market and the demand there is for the Royal Oak. Anyways, that's it for me. I hope this has been a good overview of Audemars Piguet and that you have a better understanding of who they are as a brand. Please make sure to shoot me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.